Hi, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to give everyone a minute to join the live. I got to take a breath. It was a little bit of a rush day today. Let me go ahead and see if Kim is available. And then we'll get started. It is 6:02. Okay, let's see here. Kim, I am inviting you in right now.
Hey, hey.
Hi!
How are
look,
you?
We both wear hats.
Hold on. Is this working?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. It's just like, hold on. Something's going on here. I can't see you.
What? Oh no. Let's try that again. I'm going to try and invite Kim back into the room. Let's see here. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so I'm going to go and try and invite her back into the room because she could not see me. So thank you all for your patience. Thanks, Robin. I'm glad you can see us both. Fantastic. I'm inviting her back in, so thank you so much, everyone who's on the live right now. We're just having a few technical difficulties, but thanks for your patience. I am trying to add her back in again. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see
Can
you.
you hear
All
me?
right.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, it's so good to see you. I was literally sitting here like we're both wearing hats. I almost
I
did
know.
not wear a hat, but I have hat hair today, so I was like, I need to wear a
Me
hat.
too. I have like complete just all the things. So I was like,
You
this
look
is what's
great.
happening. This is what's happening. I'm so excited to be here with
I'm
you.
so excited
This
you're
is so fun. I was just
here.
pulling up our questions
Okay, awesome.
as well. So I've got them here.
Yeah, you
But
look
this is
lovely.
thank you.
It's
Oh,
so good to see you.
I just like seeing your face. I just like feel like we're best friends. And guys, we've never met, but I
I know.
feel like, you know, that quote that goes around, it's like, everyone or do you know those 5 people on Instagram that you're besties with? Like, that's exactly how I felt about
I
Taylor
feel the same
and
way. I
John.
feel
I
the
was like,
same
we're
way.
going to be besties.
I know, right? We're already like family. So,
I know.
for sake of time, I know we had some
Yeah,
technical difficulties, so we'll go ahead and get
let's
started.
do it.
Thank you, everyone who's tuning in to my Fueled by Faith series. Today, I am here with the lovely Kim Fitzpatrick. We actually connected on Instagram. I think it was like around the time John and I started dating. So that was like 3 years ago. And I've just been watching you shine and thrive. And you are truly a coach and a mindset mentor. You are my mindset mentor. And so I really, really appreciate you just like taking the time to come on live. So for those of you who don't know, Kim is a coach and she's a mindset mentor and speaker. And I am so excited to dive into like the tough questions that maybe people don't know about you. So, and even I don't know about you. So I can't wait to see like what you've prepared and like some of the things you share today. So thanks again for joining.
Absolutely. You know what? I have a kind of a rule of thumb where I just really speak from my heart and kind of riff. So I've looked through the questions and
Good,
I definitely have an idea of what I want to share, but
good,
a lot of times I'm just kind of led with my answers.
good. You should be.
And
I
I love
want
that.
realness.
So
And so for those of you who don't know, the Fueled by Faith series is all about women specifically who are living out the power of following their dreams and their goals and changing their mindset so that they are aligned with faith-based action versus fear-based action, because I think a lot of times we do make decisions based on fear. And so I've just been watching Kim thrive and make decisions based on faith, and it's fueled me to make decisions based on faith. So we'll jump right in. I just want to ask you, can you tell me a little bit about what stands out about your childhood and how it has sort of affected your life today and like influenced your life today?
yeah. Okay, so my childhood really, for those of you that don't know, a lot of my story or all of my story started with, you know, me being truly, my pregnancy was a very much a sacrifice as well for my mom. So when my mom, Carol, was diagnosed, or sorry, was pregnant for me, her third baby, her Hodgkin's lymphoma also came back. So she was actually given a choice. She needed to either abort the baby, which was me, or carry on with treatment. That was really highly recommended based on the advanced progression of her illness, or she was to keep me and then pursue treatment after. My mom passed away 11 months after I was born and didn't come back out of the hospital.
Wow.
Before I was born or after I was born. Like, she came home for day visits, but never for long periods of time. And, you know, I held a lot of guilt with that. For a long time as a part of my childhood. It was, I would say, you know, my dad remarried, and honestly, like, my dad always says he was twice blessed, like very much had, like, you know, twice blessed, went on to have my other sister, Tiffany and Michael. I'm obsessed with them, you know, family of 5, and so many things that beautifully came from this loss, right? And as tragic and as sad and as hard as it was, there were so many beautiful things that came from this loss too. But with that said, there was a lot of grief, and I felt a lot of animosity and frustration, and I was angry. So I kind of went through, I think, the stages of loss, right?
Yeah.
You know, where I went into all of these stages. And I remember vividly, you know, just trying to figure out where I was supposed to be, how I was supposed to be. I felt a lot of my childhood. I felt, I actually recently, 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD from my childhood. So I went through a lot of heavy things that, you know, there was some emotional, physical, like really crappy stuff that went on for me. You know, I was a child that, and I'm learning this now with the research I'm doing just on child development, but I was the type of kid that would, like, get raged. I was like, something's wrong. And I would talk about it. Like, you know, and again, I was raised 40 years ago, which blows my mind that I'm even that old.
I know. I'm
like, I think I'm 23, by the way. So I don't know.
23.
I don't know who this 40-year-old is sitting over here. 'Cause, like, things were different 40 years ago. They were different 30 years ago, how you could raise and treat kids, and the things you got away with wouldn't fly now. And so I had to recover from a lot of that. And one of the things that I would say for me that has related to my life today is I want to ensure that I'm not raising children that have to recover from their childhood.
Wow. Now that is so good, because I think it's almost like we're stuck in our youth, so to speak, and we have trauma that affects us back then.
And I don't want that. And I feel like there's a lot of intergenerational healing that's occurring, a lot of intergenerational patterns that are being broken. And I think that that's what I've learned the most, right? Is that I don't have to take that story with me. I don't have to take that. I don't have to take it. I can just create this new path. And that's freeing to me. It's really only been in the last year that I'm identifying, oh, wait, I don't have to be so married to that hard. And maybe it's been there the whole time, but what's that saying? When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
The teacher appears, yep.
And I'm like, oh, I'm ready now. I'm here. Like, okay, the student's ready. It's taken me 39 years, but I've arrived, you know? So I think that, to answer that question, that's what I would take the most from my childhood.
That's awesome. Do you feel like, and thank you for sharing that too. I think that's one piece, I think, of your story when you talk about, like, your mom passing on. I mean, 11 months after you're born is very young, not being able to really get to know her the way that maybe you would have liked. And then your dad's remarrying. And so there's a lot of change happening. So I guess, would you say that some of the changes that, I guess, some of the things that you experienced back then, like you said, you don't have to take that into where you are now as a mother with your children. Do you feel like that's also related to health? Because it seems like you're unpacking a lot of those things. So would you say that some of the things that you've experienced and, like, part of your growth journey and, like, what you're trying to implement with your children and as a mother also pertains to health? And, like, do you feel like you're more healthy than you were maybe back in the day in this last year specifically, because you said you've been unpacking a lot of that this past year?
Yeah, I love that. I love that question. And I think for me, like, health to me is like, so many layers. It's like an onion, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
what is health really? What is success in your health, right?
Yeah.
For me, sleep, for me, because of my childhood and because of, I'm also an Enneagram 3. And
Okay.
I also know that for me, I used to, when I did a good job, I was good, right? So I've carried that through, right? So healthy to me actually was like working to the bone, working till burnout, working till to prove my worth, right? And that isn't healthy. That's not healthy. That's an extreme. That's and I grew up in addiction and being a witness to that as a child of addiction. And I wasn't addicted, but child of parents that were, there was stuff going on there. And so the extreme is very normal for children trying to cope, trying to figure out how to parent themselves, how to do all these things. I've been working multiple jobs since I was 13. So I wouldn't say that healthy and me and the word healthy was ever attached until I found coaching, to be honest. And I actually stepped into having to lead myself first so I could actually help to lead other women.
I love that.
Right? In order to lead other women, I had to lead myself first. And it's interesting. I would like write that down, Taylor, for like 3 years. And I was like, at one point I like ripped it up. I was like,
because you got there.
I was like, no, because I was
like,
I'm not leading me first. I don't even know what that means. So then I started writing, I'm going to lead me too. I'm going to lead me too. Because if I lead me too, then I can still do all the things I think I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to lead myself. And now I'm getting there. Now I'm just getting to the point to lead me first.
Good.
And it's a process, because so many people are like, well, it's not selfish to want self-care. It's not selfish to eat fair, but it's still hard when
it's
you
hard
are like
to retrain your brain.
Yeah. It's hard to like take that, to take that out of your psyche, that it's like, you don't have time for that. Or,
I love that.
You're so that to me, I feel like, I think I haven't always had a healthy relationship with food. I haven't always had a healthy relationship with this temple, with my body. I've been gifted. I haven't. I haven't been able to really understand what truly loving myself fully felt like. And that's healing. I can feel that now. There's a real difference. And I can see it in the eyes of my daughter. I can see it in how we are honoring and respecting our bodies and our shape and our temples. And even with Colby, our son, like we're very, very, very loving. And it's just beautiful seeing that. I grew up hearing just the last 5 pounds. If I just lose the last 5 pounds, like my children will never hear that. It's not even on my radar to be thinking about that anymore. And to me, that's healthy. Right?
I love that too.
Not chasing
that.
Yeah,
we're all struggling with that. Okay, so this was not one of the questions I sent you, but you mentioned something about finding that balance, so to speak. So I guess what are some practical ways? Because I do feel like you and I both, and everyone that's online, we're sharing a lot of times. And one thing that I will say about you is you share the real, where sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I just struggled with. But we see so many people online who are just sharing like their highlight reels, and life looks so good. So I guess, what are some practical tips you would give to people that are listening who are like, man, I can't find the balance? Because I think we all want to achieve like putting ourselves first, prioritization of like our self-care. But it's so hard to find the balance with so many like deliverables to follow through with. And this could be, again, you guys, I just put Kim on the spot. So
no, I love
if you can think of some things like, how did you find the balance?
Okay, are you ready? Balance is not possible. Balance is not possible. No,
I'm like,
just
dead.
Throw balance out the window. No, here's what I want to share. So it's interesting. My therapist, who I absolutely adore, she's also an executive life coach. We talk a lot, very much high level, about performance and operation and like really being your best version and all those things. But one of the things that has helped me is that I take it a day at a time. So I can only operate right now in a 1-day period. That could be from my trauma. Like there's been layered trauma for me. So I feel more successful and really calm and in control when I just look at today. So one of the things that I would say for women that are working with boundaries, right? Developing standards, developing boundaries for yourself. That's number one. It's a huge priority for you. If you feel like you can't achieve balance, there's typically a boundary issue. And what I mean by boundary issue, it means that you haven't set boundaries for yourself that are your own standards.
Yep.
So that's number one. Because you deserve that balance, whatever that looks like for you. Balance might be going to bed by 10, even if you've got 5 outstanding emails.
Yep.
And you're going to answer those at 5 a.m. And that is the hardest thing, because you're like, I just
swear,
answer.
I'm dying just hearing you say that, to be honest, Kim, because I truly struggle with that. So like you saying 5 emails and going to bed, I'm like, eek.
I struggle with it too. I struggle with it too, right? And or text, and I'm like, and then I'll try it. So I'll say, okay, what's the worst that can happen if I respond 10 hours later? What's the worst thing that will happen if I respond 10 hours later?
Yep.
And I write, thank you so much for your patience.
Love that.
And I noticed this morning, I'm so fresh. Like I wanted to respond last night and I just didn't. I took it a day at a time and I'm like, nope, it's time for bed. The second thing that I would recommend as a practical tip is, and this is another thing that I've been really working hard on, is your internal dialogue. So I used to say, I hope I can cuss a little bit, but I used to say, Kim, get your shit together, right? Get it together. Like, and I'd say that to myself, or I'd get angry that I wasn't in bed. And I'm like, okay, so that's not serving me, because that actually puts me back down to when I was a little girl getting in trouble and I was scolding myself, and that doesn't help or heal me. And I love, it's Dave Ramsey. He says, is it helpful? Is it healing? Or is it hopeful? And I love that approach. So is this helpful? Is this healing? Or is this hopeful? So as I talk to myself, and even I'm noticing this when Tess is calling me 18 times in a row, I have the same cadence in my voice. Yes, Tess. What do you need, love? Not frustration. And it takes every part right here in my chest to just be even, because I don't ever want her to feel like it's annoying. And I know,
to fix that.
I know that's not going to be for every mom.
That's
like
hard.
It's hard. And I'm literally like, hi. Yes. And I'm like, of course I can come right now. And I'm like,
I've seen you on lives, Kim, where she's like, and you're like, oh, hi, sweet baby pie. And I'm like, oh, I would be cringing.
I do. And I like,
so good.
And I try, because I'm like, lens of love.
I love
and I give
that.
myself that, and you've witnessed me having to be so kind. So I do that to myself at night. And I'm like, Kim, you go to bed. Like, it's almost like I'm annoying myself, but I'm like, what's the alternative? So those are some of the practical solutions. So live in the day, live in the moment of the day. Number 2, it's like, be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself. And then number 3, I would say too, is just honestly, you need to ensure that you have the boundaries set in place so that you know exactly what you want from this, from the outcome, is what I would say.
That. Okay, that's good. Okay, so transitioning, all great stuff there. I love it. I've been posting stuff in the chat just so everyone can, like, if you're missing it, just snag that down, write it down. I love living the day and a lens of love. And I've been in kind of a similar position. Sometimes my mom's on the phone with me and like Jonah's at school and Grant is running around the house and he's doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, baby. And going over the top, even though I'm like, argh.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good. So I guess, how did you decide mindset mentoring was the path, I guess, thinking about today? And like, you have all of these like great tips and everything. And I know you talked about like trying to find the balance and putting yourself on that list. But how did you determine that like it would be mindset mentoring and coaching?
Yeah, I love that question. So honestly, I'm a gerontologist by designation. So I actually was in the field of senior living before I went over into exploring my own business and building that. And I've always had a passion for helping people and really helping people optimally age. So this has always been my designation. I've always been fascinated with how can we help people improve their lives? How can we help them keep their minds sharp? How can we help them have an improved quality of life? And how can I help champion other people's lives? And so for me, that's always been a mission of mine. It's always been a vision of mine since I was 20. And so for me, honestly, like, I just think that, you know, when I think about my, let's call it a title, I just think about it's my passion, right? Yeah. My vision is to support other women in their mindset and in all aspects, really, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, You know, it's to really help people understand that there is something on the other side. And if we can continue to kind of be her now, that version of us we want to be her now, and do the steps, take that action required, we're going to move mountains before
Absolutely.
we're ready. And, you know, that to me gets me excited. And I found mindset and mentoring for me, I believe I'm a guide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert. I'm just not. I never will be an expert. I don't want to ever be the one that knows how exactly to do it. Because here's the thing. It doesn't work that way for everybody. Yeah. Your message doesn't land just because, and that's why I offer, when I share my morning routine, I offer 3 different book ideas, because my one book may not serve you, but one of those might. And I always think we pigeonhole ourselves into, you know, well, if that person does this and this is the way it does it, and you're so rigid. I believe in psychological flexibility. I believe that we have to be flexible in our psyche and in our hearts. And I know that I can do more in this world by being real and authentic and showing up. And that feels good to me. You know, that feels really good to me. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I feel.
Perfect. No, that's perfect. There's no wrong answer. Like, what did you call it? Psychological.
They research it. Like it's like an actual term. It's psychological flexibility. Psychological flexibility.
Okay, perfect. I'm posting that in the chat for you guys. And if anyone has questions for Kim, just post those real quick, because we always, I feel like, run out of time.
I know.
We've got let's try to crack through some of these in
I'm ready.
10 minutes. Okay,
I got this. I won't babble.
It's okay. No, I'm asking questions that are not on the script at all, of questions that I sent. So I guess one quick question, since it's all about being fueled by faith instead of fear, how did you overcome the fear of leaving the industry that you were in healthcare, and sort of moving into this wellness and fitness and nutrition space? Because I just have to know, I mean, how did, so many of us are just plugging away at our day jobs, and we aren't passion filled. We aren't stepping out on faith to take chances and take risks. So how did you, what was it that you had to overcome so that you could take that leap of faith and go into starting your own business, and a thriving business at that?
Well, I actually had been working part-time at our business for just about 3 years before I had comfortably and safely and responsibly replaced any source of income that would make sure that I was financially and fiscally safe. So that was my number one determinant. My number 2 thing was actually that I was actually losing money working for someone else. I wasn't spending hours on my own business, and I was working for someone else. It wasn't working for me. And I was like, this isn't working for me. I've been an employee since I was 13. And when I was, in my 30s, I became an entrepreneur, which I didn't ever imagine. I was very happy being an employee. I loved it. I loved being a corporate employee. I had a passion. I have a passion for just being a part of a team. And I loved my corporate job. I loved it. I loved my business. I loved my title. I was proud of it. I loved the company I worked for. I loved my field. But what I realized was that I also really loved this. And I had to make a choice, and I was a bit scared. I remember, I'll never forget when I told my one boss that I just admired so much, Philippa. She was one of my incredible mentors. And I still keep in touch with her from time to time, because I just think the world of her. And I told her, and she's like, of course you have to do this. And I was like,
that's how you know she was good. That's how you know she was good, though.
Yes. Yeah. And she was like, of course you have to do this. This makes so much sense for you. So, that was really empowering to hear that, because it was really scary leaving a sector of 15 years. I developed a reputation and a brand, and was very well known, but it made sense for me. And now I'm 6.5 years in to this business, which blows my mind. We've yet gone on to open also Legacy by Kim 2 years ago.
Love and Legacy then by Kim, you guys. Go check out Legacy by Kim.
And then our podcast. So it's just been beautiful. And I just feel like it all was divine intervention. I really believe that God placed this in my life. I don't think there was any accident that Jamie and I were supposed to be working together in a purpose-filled way. and we are like the best of partners, and we work really well together. I know that's not for everybody, but for us, it really works for us. And it's been fun. It's been so much fun.
I'm so happy. It's nice to see you guys thrive. And if you guys haven't checked out Kim's podcast, her and Jamie are hilarious. Oh my gosh, I still need to catch up. I'm just going to spend like an evening and just listen to all of them because like your intro episode was just so funny. Like you're talking and you guys are both like keeping it very real. And I love the realness of your relationship because you guys have those checks and balances. And I feel like so many relationships kind of miss that piece, but I love how real you guys are and you keep each other accountable. I heard you talking about that. So that's awesome. So I guess thinking about Jamie, I know you all experienced some health related challenges last year that were pretty devastating, at least for me watching on the outside. So I know you being on the inside and up close and personal with Jamie, walking through that. How have you navigated getting to a place where you're not fearful about his health and just taking care of yourself along the way? Because I do feel like when we struggle and we see a loved one struggle, it takes a toll on us and it impacts how we show up. So how are you navigating like not being afraid of any, you know, the dynamic there, I guess?
Yeah. So I will be honest. So like I'm just coming out. Like I feel like the last 2 weeks, like I'm smiling different. Like I'm okay. Like I know he's okay. And that took a long time. It took a long time, but his story's not over. And, you know, we got a really interesting call about 7 months ago from a good friend who had a message for us. And she had a message from the believe what you believe, but it was divine intervention. It was a divine intervention of a message. And we haven't shared a lot of this, but I will share a bit of it because I think it's important. And it affirmed me. And one of the things she said through this is she said, you know, Jamie, this was actually just a reminder to wake up and live your life more. This was a reminder that you weren't living as fully as you could. And I believe that too. I believe that what happened for us on October 27th, my husband, for those of you that are listening, he suffered from a cardiac arrest. It was a widowmaker. My daughter found him right away. So again, divine intervention. He wasn't supposed to go. He just wasn't supposed to go. I knew CPR from 13 years of age, waiting for someone to be able to give CPR to. I was in training my whole life. And I remember I finished my first aid course and I used to like search around for people on the ground I could give CPR for. And I was laughing after. I was like, here we go. Thank you. I've been in training for this. But, you know, I really believe that when I heard this, I'm like, that makes sense. He wasn't meant to go. You know, Jamie's in the 6% and there's 94 other percent of people that don't have our outcome. And I think about them every day. I really do. I think about the families that have lost and suffered. And I know that it's not everyone's outcome. So I'm very grateful. And I think for me, I just whisper thank you 100 times a day. And it's just, for me, it's a different sense of peace. I saw death I looked death right in the eye. And that's something not a lot of people have to do. I have helped hundreds of senior citizens pass in my life. I've been a witness, able to help people.
Oh, wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I've been a witness to helping people pass and families handle that from my gerontology designation. And this was just a different experience. And I had this sense of peace the entire time. And one of the things that's really cool is that I knew that I wasn't by myself in that room because nobody could do CPR for 8 minutes. So I actually don't take that credit. And I just was a conduit to helping the bigger powers of my story. And knowing that I can release that pressure has given me freedom. That
really, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's given me freedom.
It's impactful though, the way just like listening to your story, how for me at least, and I'm not judging anyone who's on here, whatever you believe, for me it's God, and like how God's always preparing us. He's preparing us in advance for the things that are coming today. So it's like you didn't even know at 13, like you were going through your own trauma at 13, and then
Mm-hmm.
to be an adult and then watch your husband walk through that and watch your daughter walk through that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just, it's incredible how, God's always paving the way for the future, and we don't
Yeah.
even know what's coming to us. I don't
No.
know. That's a testament, like you said, not feeling that sense of I am not alone. So for
Mm.
those of you who are out there who feel like maybe you're alone, you're not alone. Like
No.
we're with you, he's with you,
Yeah.
whatever you believe is with
Not
you,
alone.
like
the universe, like,
yeah.
it's really how you feel. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'd say. It's like, I had to stop. And I really feel like I always say this happened for us.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to us. And it happened
that.
for us for a reason. So that helps me, gives me peace,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Whew! I'm like, I can break down over here, Kim.
I'm like, give me more questions. I love it.
Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about your hobbies, okay? So everyone sees you online. You post so frequently. I'll be honest, I feel a little pressure because I see you posting and I'm like, and I know you're not trying to give any pressure. I just feel pressure because I'm like, she's so interesting. I need to share too. Like there are people who, because we all care about your story, but there are people who care about our story. So it's important to share. But anyway, so there are things that we get to see, but can you tell us something that nobody knows about you on your online community? What is something that's like your favorite hobby? Like, I don't know. I don't like to sleep with socks on. Tell me something about you that like people just would never know.
I definitely get annoyed easily. I know you'd never know. I need my own time. Like if Jamie has to talk to me during my morning routine, I'm just like, where are you here? You need to go away. You need to leave. So I think I'm more of an introvert than I look like. Like I'm an extroverted introvert. Mm-hmm. So, and then another thing is like, I love hugging people. But I have this thing about like being hugged. If my arms are inside versus my arms being outside, I'm just like, I'm trapped. So like, if you ever see me going for a hug, I'm always the one that's going to hug you on the other side. And that's like a little thing maybe no one knows about me. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like something I've been thinking about. I'm like, I wonder why I do that. And I'm anyway, so that's just like a little thing. Like I am outgoing and I am like a ball of energy, but I'm also guarded and I'm also trying to figure that out. And that does come from being a child of abuse and kind of trying to figure out where I fit. But also really having a big, bright light.
Yep.
So it's like,
someone in the chat actually, Kim, put control, LOL. And I'm the same way. I don't want to be, unless it's John, I don't want people like trapping me under their arms. It feels like I'm suffocating. Get off of me. This is not fun. So when you said that, I instantly thought like I have stuff from my past that like were traumatic experiences. And because of that, again, it's not about me, it's about you. But because of those experiences, I do feel like I want a sense of control. So I want to be on the outside. I want to control how long
under
the hug lasts. Yeah.
I'll be like under the armpits and like I don't know. That's so like I know Kim, it's not a hobby, but it's something, an idiosyncrasy.
I'm wondering whenever we do meet, when we hug, how that's going to work out.
Oh, I'm just going to be jumping. I'm going to just be like jumping like a little golden retriever.
Okay, so real quick, last question, and then we'll wrap up since we're like way over time. Thanks for all of your time and all of you guys' time. So real quick, Haley, same. I hug the same way. I'm glad we have plenty of us out there.
See? This is good. Okay. I can't see the chat, but I'm sure it's there. I don't know where I am. I'm joined in some room, but it's fine.
It's okay. So last thing, what would you say is like your favorite mantra or quote that you want to leave people with? And then you can tie this in. How can people connect with you?
Okay. So my favorite thing to say is, you have enough time in this day to do everything that is important to you. You have enough time in this day to do everything that is important to you. So that helps me when I want to be a great mom and I want to be a very present business owner and I want to be all these things and I'm feeling conflicted. And that really helps me. I have enough time in this day to do everything that is important and that needs to be done. And it gives me breathing room. And then you guys can find me over on Instagram at Kim_M_Fitzpatrick. You can find me over at Legacy by Kim and also on Facebook. And our podcast is called Fitz Life Unfiltered by Kim and Jamie Fitzpatricks.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Kim, I appreciate having you. If you guys don't know this, like I said, Kim is a mindset mentor and coach, and she has truly even encouraged me. I actually jumped on some of the programs and opportunities that, you know, the Beachbody company has through Crush Nation, and I have loved the program. I've watched the inches come off. I've watched the pounds come off. But beyond the physical weight, I've lost the mental weight. And so I just want you guys to know, like, this is truly a journey. And when you sign up with Kim, you're signing up for Kim, but you're also most importantly signing up for yourself. And along my journey, my mind is just different. I'm pumped. I have energy, and Shakeology is the bee's knees. I'm like, Kim, you're gonna laugh real quick. So my Shakeology, I missed one day of Shakeology over the past 2 weeks since I started the program. And I looked outside and it finally came, and we went to bed, and then John went outside and he's like, the Shakeology's here. I was like, what? It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like running to get it. I mean, it gives you energy. You feel really good. It curbs the appetite, specifically the cravings, not your appetite, but the cravings. And it just truly is like a part of my day now. So anyway, I just want you to know that, like, you've blessed me, not just through the program of like nutrition and Shaun T and like dancing and just dancing away the physical weight, but also the mental weight on my mind and changing that internal dialogue. So anyway, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that we met. Instagram does a lot of things well, but this was like truly a blessing. And I appreciate all of you out there who watch. Please go follow Kim. I'll be posting the replay, and thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Taylor. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.